Priyantakumara Diyavadana had worked in Pakistan for 11 years, the last 9 in the factory where he was killed. His body was returned to his home country Sri Lanka in a sealed coffin. His injuries too horrific to allow an open casket.
I hope justice will be done considering the mental trauma my sons and I are suffering. I believe governments in Pakistan and Sri Lanka will intervene to ensure suitable compensation and safety of Sri Lankans in Pakistan. I hope no one has to go through this again.
On Friday, hundreds of men stormed the factory where he worked in the eastern Pakistani city of Sialkot. Reports indicate they joined his co-workers who were angered by accusations the factory manager committed blasphemy by tearing down a poster containing the name of the Prophet Muhammad. They severely beat him and set his body on fire. The killing has been widely condemned in Pakistan and has sparked protests like this in several major cities. Members of the hardline Tehreek Labbaik Pakistan party were reported to have been among the attackers. Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan called it a day of shame for his country.
The business community has announced $100,000 for his family, and he'll continue to receive his full salary. The sheer brutality of the mob attack is difficult to comprehend.
The violence inflicted on Priyantakumara Diyavadana is hard to imagine. A post-mortem reportedly found that his spine was broken in 3 places, his vital organs damaged, and his body burned more than 90%.
Starting with news from Pakistan, where a special court has now sentenced 6 men to death and dozens more to jail terms for brutal mob slaying of Sri Lankan national. Last year, of 88 people convicted, 9 have been given life sentences, while others have been issued jail terms of 2 to 5 years. The verdicts were given by the Anti-Terrorism Court in Lahore. Secretary of Punjab's Public Prosecution Department, Nadeem Sarwar, has called the decision a welcome move in bringing justice in the society.
This is a very good day. In this case of international significance, justice has prevailed against the accused who took an innocent life. We hope that elements spreading extremism in the name of religion are dealt with through the law in the future.
Priyantakumara was killed in December last year by workers at a sports equipment factory in Pakistan's Sialkot, where he was a manager. The violence began after rumors spread that Priyanta had allegedly committed a blasphemous act of tearing down posters with the name of the Prophet Muhammad on them. Priyanta was beaten to death, after which his body was set ablaze. The vigilante attack in Sialkot was last December triggered ripples of outrage across Pakistan, when then Prime Minister Imran Khan called it a day of shame for the entire nation. Blasphemy in simple terms can be defined as insulting a particular region, religion or a god through derogatory remarks or actions. In Pakistan, it can carry a potential death sentence for anyone who insults Islam. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.
We now shift our focus to Nigeria, where a woman has been beaten to death and set on fire on college premises. She was a student in this college. Her killers were her own classmates. What was her crime? Blasphemy. Her classmates accused her of insulting Prophet Muhammad, and so they killed her. This incident has shocked the world, but in Nigeria, killing in the name of blasphemy has been taking place for far too long, especially in the country's north. Our next report highlights the deep religious tension in Africa's most populous country.
Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, is once again in the news for the wrong reasons. A female student was beaten mercilessly and then set on fire by fellow students.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu
This video has gone viral with the hashtag Justice for Deborah. The footage shows a group of youngsters attacking her. What was her fault? It is alleged that she had posted blasphemous statements about Prophet Muhammad in a WhatsApp group.
And now the details. Police trying to figure out why a woman was set on fire. This happened in the city's Kensington neighborhood on Friday morning. And tonight, that victim in the hospital recovering from severe burns. Action News reporter Katie Castro live at police headquarters. Katie, you spoke to the victim's mother. This is just a horrific story.
It really is, Gray, and that victim's mother says that she will be in the hospital for at least 3 months. She says her face will never look the same again. And in the meantime, police are trying to figure out if this 36-year-old woman was intentionally set on fire.
I'd like to just hug you. I'd like to touch you, and I can't.
36-year-old Alyssa Morales, also known as Bree, has burns to over 60% of her body, according to police, who are looking at video like this circulating online, showing her clothes on fire on the 1800 block of East Tioga Street in Kensington. A witness tells police she saw Morales with a man and another woman in an argument before the blaze on Friday, just after 12:30 a.m.
When she sees the female that's with them spray some kind of liquid towards the male and the female, and that liquid then is lit on fire.
Police say the man on fire ran from the scene. When the fire department came out to put out the fire, they discovered Morales with severe burns. She's now in critical condition at Temple University Hospital in a medically induced coma with her mother by her side.
I feel broken. It's just like I don't know where to go. I don't know how to get up. She'll never have the face she was born with. Never.
Her mother says Morales has been battling a heroin addiction for about 12 years. She's kept up with her daughter on YouTube, watching videos about her life in Kensington.
There's too many people in the world who'll treat you bad.
Yesterday was the day that we were supposed to meet, and it would have been the first time that I saw her physically in about 4 years.
Police say they are hoping to get some leads from people in the area.
Around midnight are individuals that are involved in the drug trade. There's a lot of prostitution in the area. So we're talking to some of the individuals that frequent the area.
Now, police say if they do find that Morales was intentionally set on fire, someone could be facing arson, reckless endangerment, and other serious charges. Reporting live at police headquarters, Katie Castro for Action News at 10 on PHL 17.
3 children killed in Paulding County Friday night, and their own mother is now charged with murder. Tracy McPeer talked to neighbors who were there when it happened.
Throughout the day, neighbors have stopped by to create this memorial for the 3 children who were killed, telling us they can't believe such a tragedy happened here.
There's bodies, a fire, and people lost their lives.
Edward Springer lives across the street from this house on Woodwind Drive in Rockmart, where the blaze broke out Friday night.
Everybody was out here. Everybody was out here. They did everything they could do. They did their best.
The sheriff's office says they got a call around 9:20 that a woman was trying to stab people inside this house while the house was on fire. They tell us 7 children lived here and 2 children died in the house. A 3rd child died later at the hospital. Neighbors also tell us some of the children jumped out of this window to escape. Police then arrested the mother, 40-year-old Darlene Brister, on the scene, and so far she is charged with at least 2 counts of malice murder. Springer says the family lived here for years with no problems.
They stayed to themselves. The kids come outside and play. They were very, very respectful. I just don't understand them. I don't understand.
Brister is being held without bond and should go before a judge on Monday. Now, the Paulding County Sheriff's Office is asking anyone with any information on this to call them. In Rockmart, Tracy McPeer, 11 Alive News.
The law of God written in the Pentateuch contains references to what is called a detestable practice. It was so serious that if an Israelite participated in it, they would be sentenced to death by stoning. That practice was human sacrifice. In Leviticus and Deuteronomy, the Canaanites were said to sacrifice their children to the pagan god Molech by burning. Interestingly, these statements have often been dismissed by modern scholars as over-exaggerations written to emphasize the evil of Israel's enemies. However, the Bible is not alone in its unveiling of these practices. There are many Greek historians that write in depth about ancient child sacrifice. And recently, a Phoenician burial ground for ritualistically sacrificed children has been uncovered. An examination of the remains buried in clay urns at the site has revealed over 20,000 burnt remains of children, the majority of whom seem to have been killed between 2 to 3 months of age. Remains of children also have been identified up to 6 years old. Disposal of the bodies by burning are clear from the remains, and written Greek records fill in some detail. According to a 4th century BC historian, children were sacrificed at the beginning or completion of a vow to a god. Sometimes mass child sacrifice was enacted when a great favor was needed from a god. Despite disturbing details from history, we do know from the Bible that these practices did slip into ancient Israel. There were at least 2 kings condemned for practicing child sacrifice, Ahaz and Manasseh. Their evil ways prompted their great-grandson King Josiah to destroy the special site built in Israel for sacrificing children. Though it spread into Israel, the Bible is clear that child sacrifice is always vile and carries a solemn warning that judgment will always follow.